Hello students, class will start by 5 o'clock. Good evening, students. Welcome to Unacademy. Welcome to Let's Crack UPSC Civil Service Examination with Unacademy, India's largest learning platform. By just one subscription, you'll be having access to more than 15,000 videos. 15,000 courses. These 15,000 courses are created by more than 100 top educators in India. And all these things will be for unlimited access. Along with that, you'll be having live quizzes and also practice sessions. If you take iconic subscription, you'll also be having a personal mentor. My dear students, then what are you waiting for? Get a subscription. This is a brief about me. I am Raghu. I have been teaching UPSC aspirants for last 11 years or so. In 2011, there was a change in syllabus. Because of that, like all the students who wrote in 2011, they got an attempt in 2015. In that attempt, I too got an attempt where I scored one of the highest marks. This made me to take ethics as a subject. I worked on it for more than 2 3 years. In this regard, I have written two books: Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude, Part 1 and Part 2. In Part 1, I have covered all the things related to ethics paper given by second ARC. Everything. In Part 2, I have covered the things according to UPSC syllabus, like in a sequence. Getting a subscription, as I told you, will have access to structured courses. You may ask me, like, what do you mean by structured course? These are the courses which are created based on the UPSC syllabus and also previous year question paper. So we are giving a structured thing. We are giving a direction as to what you have to read. These structured courses will be daily live and also recorded. Along with that, we will be having live tests and quizzes. And all these things for unlimited access. Generally, like in our offline classes, if we lose one class, you may not get it again. But in our Unacademy, you'll have unlimited access. You can watch whenever you want at your comfort. Your subscription begins by downloading Unacademy app. The first thing what you have to do is downloading Unacademy app. In that, you have to specifically download Learners app. There are many apps of Unacademy like educators, all these things. So you have to download Learners app, which is available in Google Play Store and also Apple Play Store. After you download Unacademy app, you will feel and you will see a different Unacademy than what you're seeing on YouTube. There will be having, like, they will show you separately the courses which are completed, the upcoming courses, the courses which are trendy, the ranking of the teachers, all this. Like, the first step for subscription is downloading the app. At Unacademy, more than 100 top educators are teaching. You name a subject, you have got a topper in the field who will be teaching. Say, for example, Munal Patel, a very well known personality in civil service preparation. Roman Saini, who cleared civil service examination at one of the youngest period in first attempt, and many more. Then these more than 100 top educators have created more than 50,000 courses for you. My dear friends, these are courses, not videos. 50,000 courses. You can see here. You take a course, you have got more than 100 of courses. in that specific area. We have got two plans, one is iconic and another is flex. The advantage and the difference of iconic is a personal handholding facility where a personal coach will be assigned to a student. Iconic subscription is very important, especially for the beginners, because as I told, like we have got like more than 50,000 video courses. If you are a fresher, you won't be having the exact idea as to what to see, what not to see. Just going through all those 50,000 will take you a long time. And also, you won't be knowing where to begin. In that regard, our personal coach will help you a lot. If you don't need personal coach, then you can go for plus subscription. For 12 months plus subscription with my promo code Buddha, you'll be getting for only 44,550. With respect to the iconic course, with my promo code, you'll be getting for 62,550 rupees. This is a very, very reasonable amount, my dear friends. Just think of, just think it over. 12 months, you'll be assigned a personal coach. Then it will be like around 5,000 rupees per month. Not only that, you'll have unlimited access. There'll be like hundreds, tens of courses. Almost from morning to evening, classes will be going on, live classes. You can attend any of them. Apart from this, we have got optional as a separate entity because, as you know, options are game changers. At Unacademy, we teach almost all the options which are specified by UPSC. All this just for 2,000 rupees per month if you take 12 months subscription. My dear friends, I'll strongly recommend a optional subscription even if you have taken coaching somewhere else because it's a different thing. You are getting access for 1 year. You'll have additional inputs. So, my dear friends, I strongly recommend an academic subscription and also take my promo Buddha and get 10% subscription on all the things which you purchase. Having said that, let's begin our class today. Deontology. Yesterday we have discussed in brief about deontology. Today we'll go in depth about one of the important theory of deontology, that is categorical imperative, given by Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher. What is categorical imperative? Before I go through these things, let me tell you a very important thing. Many of you are writing this time mains. There is one course or one class which is very, very important for your mains examination is this one. I mean to say that Kant's notions, Kant thoughts are revolutionary. They are thought provoking. All other thing, say for example, you take utilitarianism, any other approach, they are just simply common sense things. But Kant goes beyond those things. I strongly say that if you want to get good marks in ethics paper, you have to internalize Kant's things. What is his logic? What are the reasons for his thought? If you don't have clear understanding of what Kant has said, I think all the answers, there won't be any difference between your answers and others' answers. So, my dear friends, use anything but internalize Kant's categorical imperative. Okay, having said this, Kant criticized, Kant rejected utilitarianism. He was one of the first person, in fact, to reject utilitarianism. As we have said, he rejected utilitarianism. You can write all these rejections as disadvantages or limitations of utilitarianism if asked. One is utilitarianism equated happiness to goodness or righteousness. Kant said that this is not true because making a man happy is quite different from making him good, prudent, or virtuous. This we have already studied, so I'll go a little fast. I will just read about the things, but we should know all these things as a background. Then he said that pain and pleasure are not our sovereign masters. Pain and pleasure are not our sovereign masters, but utilitarian says that they are our sovereign masters. You know the reason we have discussed. And he said, rejected for the other reason that here people are used as means, not as ends. This is a very, very important thing. UPSC has already asked twice this one. I like, I suspect definitely UPSC will be asking many more times the same thing because this is a very, very important construct in ethics. It violates human rights. Next, ethics cannot be based on interests, wants, desires, and preferences people have at any given time, that is, empirical considerations, because these factors are variable and contingent. This point is a very important thing. We'll discuss this fifth point in detail. Just for now, he says that basing ethics on interests, wants, desires is not correct because they are dependent on the situation, they're dependent on the person, so they are variable and they are contingent on the situation and the person. So we cannot base ethics on desires, interest, preferences, or happiness. Having said this, then you may ask, Kant, then Kant, please tell me what is the supreme ethical standard? According to Kant, like in the first 2 3 minutes, I'll just sum up the very, very crux cream of Kant's thought. According to Kant, we can arrive at a supreme ethical standard by reason. He says pure reason. Pure reason means nothing attached to that. Thinking in a very rational way, just by reasoning. He says that we cannot take empirical consideration like our wants, desires, the things which happen. We have to depend on reason for getting the supreme ethical standard. Kant says that we can arrive at supreme ethical standard through the exercise of pure practical reason. So he says that we can arrive at the ethical standard by reason, not by taking into the consideration of what people feel, what people do. Empirical considerations should not be taken into consideration because they change. Ethics cannot be based on merely empirical considerations such as interest, wants, desires, preferences people have. Because, as I said, these are contingent on the person, the place, on what you want. So, Kant rejected the theory saying that you can find supreme ethical standard based on empirical considerations. Kant says that you can come up with, you can arrive at the supreme ethical standard only by reason, pure practical reason. Is this clear? Next, looking at supreme ethical standards through pure reason. Yeah, then you may ask me why? Why we have to use pure practical reason as the basis on which we have to base our ethical standards? Kant's answer for this is we have to use pure practical reason for one reason, that is, we are rational beings and also autonomous beings. Very important line, please internalize this. Why we have to depend on reason for arriving at supreme ethical standard is we are rational beings. We are rational being capable of reasoning, and also we are autonomy, like we are beings who can make free decisions, who can act freely. So in Kant's words, rational being because we are capable of reason. Very important thing. We are we have to base the things on practical reason because we are rational and autonomous beings. We are rational beings because we are capable of reason. Every person is worthy of respect because we are rational beings. Since we all can make rational decisions, since we all can reason, we have to respect that reason. We have to respect people as those rational beings. This is clear. This is a very, very deep concept. Here, Kant is asking to respect people, not because, like libertarians, they say that we own ourselves, this body belongs to us, so nobody can control us. Let us live and let us do whatever we want. It's not like that. Here, what Kant is saying, respect the rational being, respect the rational thing which is present in an individual. He's not saying that you have to respect an individual just because that body, the things, what he has is own. We don't have any like authority to control. No. His thing is we are human beings. We are capable of making rational decisions. So we have to respect that rational making capacity. Is this clear? We are autonomous. Sorry. We are autonomous because we are capable of acting and choosing freely. Very important. Why we have to base ethical standard on pure practical reason is we are rational beings. We are rational beings because we can reason, and also we are autonomous beings because we can act and choose freely. Then you may ask me, like, what is freedom? What is freedom according to you? Previously, UPSC asked a question. What is happiness according to you? What does happiness mean to you? That we have discussed yesterday. So here, what is freedom? In general, we feel that if someone is doing whatever he wants, like generally, if someone is enjoying the life according to their view, like eating, boozing, doing anything, like any other things, we feel that that person is enjoying a lot. He's living a free life, isn't it? So according, like generally, we say that absence of obstacles to do whatever we want, or seek pleasure, or the avoidance of pain, we feel that this is freedom, isn't it? Do you have anything other than these things to add? Generally, that is the thing. Like there should not be any obstacle, and pain should be lower, and pleasure should be higher. This is what freedom is, isn't it? But Kant says no. This is wrong. These are not at all the freedom. Why? Kant says that because when we are seeking pleasure or avoiding pain, like animals, we are acting as slaves of our appetites and desires. I read it again, very meaningful. When you are seeking pleasure or avoiding pain, like animals, we are acting as the slaves of our appetites and desires. To increase pleasure and decrease pain, you are just acting as an animal. You are going behind whatever, like you feel pleasure, you are going behind that. You are avoiding those things which are giving pain to you. By acting like that, you are acting as a slaves to your appetites and desires. Your appetites and desires. You are just ruled by your appetites and desires. You are not, in the first place, you are not giving these things to yourself. Then you may ask me, like, how can you say that? Why? What made Kant to say that if we are satisfying our pleasures, if we are behind pleasures, if we are satisfying our appetites and desires, why does Kant say that we are slaves for them? The reasoning for that is when we are seeking for satisfying our desires, everything we do is for the sake of some end given outside us. I repeat, when we are seeking to satisfy our desires, everything we do is for the sake of some end given outside us. Means, say for example, the next example, trying to decide what flavor of ice cream to order. Say for example, you go to a ice cream parlor, you want to eat a ice cream. Then you will be having options like shall I eat vanilla? Shall I eat chocolate? There will be a lot of things. So which flavor to select? Kant says that in selecting, say for example, chocolate flavor, vanilla flavor, or butterscotch flavor, you are not acting independently. You are not acting freely. You are acting as a slave to your appetite. The feeling of eating a chocolate flavor of ice cream that you did not give yourself. This is given by your body. This is given by nature. This is given by the society. So you are acting to the things which you have not given for yourself. Is this clear? So you are acting on behalf of nature or society. Because you have not given them. So you are acting as a slave. Is the logic clear for you all? Next. Then what is freedom? He says that if we are behind satisfying our appetite, then we are slaves to those things. Then what is freedom? For Kant, whenever our behavior is biologically determined or socially conditioned, it is not truly free. Anything socially conditioned and biologically determined, these are not you are not acting totally free. Take for example the customs, the traditions. According to society, some things are kept at high, some things are kept at low. Some things are determined by biology, like drinking, eating, sexual pleasure, all these things. So when you are heeding to those things, you are not acting freely. Then what is acting freely? Freedom is equal to autonomy. Kant says that freedom is equal to acting autonomously. Acting autonomously means acting freely. Is this clear? So freedom is equal to autonomy. To act freely is to act autonomously. Then what is acting autonomously? Autonomy is equal to law I give myself. I'm making the things very, very simple. Please understand. So freedom is equal to autonomy. Autonomy is acting according to a law which you give yourself, not according to the law given by society or biology or nature. Is this clear? So autonomy is equal to law I give myself. To act autonomously is to act according to a law I give myself. If you are giving a law to yourself and acting on that, then you are acting autonomous. If you are acting, if you are acting according to the dictates of nature or social conviction, then it is not acting autonomously. This is clear? Heteronomy. This word is coined by Kant. Heteronomy is the opposite of autonomy. To make things clear, Kant has invented one word known as heteronomy. What does this mean? Heteronomy is the opposite of autonomy. When I act heteronomously, I act according to determinations given outside me. So when I act heteronomously, I act according to determinants given outside me, as I have explained. For that, an example is given. When you drop a stone, say for example, this pen, I'm dropping this pen. This has fallen down. Is this pen acting autonomously? Is this point clear for you? When I drop this pen is falling. It's falling down. Is this pen acting freely? No. It is acting according to law of gravitation. In the same analogy, compare yourself. When you are satisfying your thirst by eating ice cream, you are not eating autonomously. You are not acting freely. You are just satisfying the thirst which is given by biology, by nature. Is this clear? The point here is when you are heeding to the things given by nature or society, you are just acting as a thing, like an animal, like a substance. Next example, why you are attending Raghu Sir's ethics classes? So here you are attending ethics classes to get some good marks. So here the thing is you are not acting freely. You are acting to get some good marks, good salary. Here attending the class is having only instrumental value. It is not the end in themselves. So he says that when we act, sorry, when we act heteronomously, we are instruments, not authors of the purpose we pursue. When we act according to the dictates of nature or biology or the society, we are acting as instruments, not the authors of the purpose we pursue. Say, for example, like you will be like an instrument, you will be like a bicycle, you will be like a ship. Because a ship cannot go wherever it wants. It's driven by the person who is driving that. Was acting just as an instrument. Is this clear? Next. When we act heteronomously, we are instruments. But when we act autonomously, that is according to the law we give ourselves, we are doing something for its own sake as an end in itself. So here, when you act autonomously, you are doing something for its own reason, not as a instrument, not as a mean. You are doing something for an end in itself. When you are acting heteronomously, you are a mean, you are an instrument for achieving something. When you are acting autonomously, you are acting on the end itself. Is this clear? So, according to a law we give ourselves, we do something for its own sake as an end in itself, not as an instrumental value. We cease to be instruments of purpose given outside us. So when you are acting autonomously, you have ceased to be acting on the things given by outside. This capacity to act autonomously is what gives human life its special dignity. This is a very important point, my dear friends. So Kant says that This capacity to act autonomously is what gives human life special dignity. Humans have got the capacity to act autonomously. Since they have got the capacity to act autonomously, we have to give them special dignity. Libertarians or human right activists, they say that we have got some rights because we are born as humans. This body is ours. So nobody can restrict us from doing whatever we want. So in that way they are claiming the rights. But here Kant is saying since human can act autonomously, for this reason we have to respect humanity, we have to respect people. Respecting human dignity means treating people as end in themselves. This is clear. What is like previous year questions? Twice it is asked. What is treating people as end in themselves? Directly from Kant means respecting human dignity. My dear friends, if you are confused with all these things, forget all these things. Just remember this thing: respecting human dignity means respecting people as end in themselves. This is clear. So the point what here they are stressing here is that humanity is the climax, ultimate thing. It is a superior thing which you cannot use as a mean. You can use this as only as end. Is this clear? When you are using humanity as a mean, when you are using people as a mean, it means that by using something which is like very very worthy of high worth, you are using something which is having more worth to produce something which is very very less worth. Mean to say that there is nothing more than humanity. Is this clear? Next, Kant explains. Then next he explains what is morality. My dear students, now what is free acting freely? What is freedom? Freedom is equal to acting autonomously. Acting autonomously means acting according to the law which you give to yourself. Is this clear? Then what is moral then? Here I want to make one point clear. Ethics and moral, most of the times they are used and they are same. There is some minor differences. Some authors have distinguished that, but both UPSC and second ARC have used this term interchangeably. They say that ethics is related to society, societal set of standards. Moral is related to individual set of standards. Yes, but they can be used interchangeably as one and the same. Why I'm saying is students often get confused when they are reading. Like sometimes they are saying ethics, sometimes they are saying morals. They will be thinking, okay, ethics means societal things, morals means individual things. Please don't look in those things. Just take ethics and morals as a concept, which has same meaning. There are some differences until and unless they ask, you use them interchangeably. This is clear. One of the main reason is both UPSC and second ARC have not made any distinction. Like previously in 2019, we had a question: Constitution morality. So, is having a moral framework, bigger structure. They are asking not about morality means individual itself. Why I am saying is every student come across this doubt because when they are reading, if something comes moral, they always will be seeing and thinking that moral means individual set of things. No, if you look in those things, you'll be confused. Whenever you come across things like moral and ethics, they have got same meaning until and unless they have differentiated. Is it clear? Next. Kant says that moral is equal to motive. Motive of an action determines whether it is moral or not. If your motive is wrong, it is not moral. It is not ethical. Motive determines whether it is ethical or not. Motive is the main thing which you have to look into consideration, take into consideration. Motive is equal to duty. What is your motive? What is the motive on which you have to do? For any work you do, the motive behind that should be duty. Very, very important. Internalize this. Kant says that motives are the things which are to be taken into consideration. Say, for example, if you are helping someone with the motive of getting something from him, then it is unethical because your motive is bad. So, Kant says that motive is the thing which you have to take into consideration. And what is that motive? That motive should be your duty. So, Kant equates morality with duty. That is the reason why it is called as deontology. Deon means duty. So, morality means duty. Duty means motive. Is this clear? So, let me explain this again. So, Kant says that motive is the thing which determines whether it is ethical or not, moral or not. Motive, what is the motive? Motive should be duty, following the duty. So, morality is equal to duty. So, deontology means following duty. This is clear because it's most often confused terminology. This is the crux. Let me elaborate these things further. What is moral? Kant says that look for the motives. The moral worth of an action consists in the motive or the intention from which the act is done. So, moral worth of an action is dependent on the motive from which the act is done. Just it is not just considering the thing what you are doing is good or bad. It is taking into consideration the motive what you have behind that, the intention what you have behind that. Is this clear? Not the consequences that flow out of it. So let the consequences be negative. That doesn't matter. If your motive is correct, then it's ethical. What matters is motives. What matters is doing right thing because it is right, not for the sake of some hidden motive, some ulterior motive. So you should do anything for its own sake. Helping, just help for the sake of helping. Don't help for the sake of some hidden motive like you'll get after some time. No, if you are doing that, that is unethical. That is not having moral worth. Do anything just for its own sake, pure thing. Do right thing for just right reason, not for any hidden reason or is a hidden motive. Is this clear? Next, the motive that confirms moral worth of an action is the motive of duty, by which Kant means doing the right thing for the right reason. Isn't it a thought provoking thing? Doing right thing for the right reason is moral, is ethical. If you are keeping any intention which is bad, then it's bad. Then it is immoral. This is clear? Next. Here he introduced another term, motive of inclination. Motive of inclination. I'll just sum up this in one word. What does motive of inclination means? I said moral is equal to motive. Motive is equal to duty. So duty is equal to ethics or morality. So anything is this one. So if you are doing anything with the motive other than duty, that is inclination. Simple word. You are doing a work with a motive other than duty, then it is unethical. Then that is inclination. Inclination is doing anything with the motive other than duty. It may be anything with the motive of self-interest, your desire, thought, ambition, anything like that. Is this clear? Motive of inclination means motive other than duty. It may be your self-interest, anything. Just other than duty is inclination. Let me explain these things. Motive of inclination, this one is the opposite, is the opposite of is the opposite of motive of duty. Motive of duty is what is ethical or what is moral. So when it is opposite of duty, then inclination is unethical. Motive of inclination is equal to motive other than duty. This is very important. You do anything other than duty, then it is unethical. Like example, maybe if we act out of some motive other than duty, such as self-interest, and all attempts to satisfy wants, desires, preferences, appetites. It's appetites like anything, maybe biological wants of society, desires, preferences, anything. Just simple word is other than duty, all are inclinations. And he says that inclination, motive of inclination lacks moral worth. It is immoral. It is not having the ethical thing in that. Kant insists that only actions done out of motive of duty have moral worth. Is this clear? So anything done with the intention, with the motive other than duty is unethical. So here the Kant gives a very very beautiful example. This example is given by Kant himself. Kant says that shopkeeper and a child. Once a small child goes to shopkeeper to buy a loaf of bread, or you can take for Indian context rice, chocolate, or anything like that. As you know, child is not that knowledgeable. The child won't be having that idea. The shopkeeper can overcharge or give a wrong change, but he gives correct change. You take the same price, but the intention behind that was if the child goes and tells others, say for his brothers, parents, or someone, this word that the shopkeeper has taken like higher amount of money, he has charged more for the child, will be spread in the society. By this, his business will go down. With this motive, he gives the child the correct change. He charges the child the correct amount. The act is right. That he is doing the things rightly, but the motive is wrong. Did you get the point? So once again, the shopkeeper and the child. A child goes to a grocery store to buy bread. The shopkeeper would charge him and the child would not know. But the shopkeeper realizes that if others discovered he took advantage of the child in this way, the word might spread and hurt his business. For this reason, he decides not to overcharge the child. My dear students, do you think shopkeeper is ethical? If you say shopkeeper is not ethical, then you say the shopkeeper is wrong. He has given correct change. Then how can you say that he is unethical? Think it over. It is a very, very thought provoking thing which you have to take into consideration. He has given correct change. This is one of the difference asked in UPSC. What is the difference between law and ethics? In law, you are wrong when you violate the law. But in ethics, you are unethical just by thinking of doing wrong, just by the motive. If your motives are wrong, then you are wrong. Then you are unethical. Is this clear? So Kant says that the shopkeeper lacks moral worth. The shopkeeper's action lacks moral worth. The shopkeeper does the right thing. He acts honestly, but for the wrong reason, that is self interest. The shopkeeper is not acting honestly just for the sake of honesty. Inclination, self interest is acting with inclination. He's not so he's acting honestly because self interest is hidden in that. He's honest for the wrong reason. So Kant says that his action lacks moral worth. According to Kant, honesty is the best policy. Like, definitely, there is no second word for that. Honesty is the best policy. It is also the most profitable. It is also most profitable. If you are honest, if a shopkeeper is honest, definitely it will be profitable. It's also most profitable. It's an important asset because a business that deals in truth, openness, and fair value do well. So, by being honest, if you are like running a shop honestly for profit motive, then it is lacking moral worth. That is the essence of that. There is an important moral difference between honest for its own sake, being honest for the sake of honesty, and honesty for the sake of profitability. There are two instances: honesty for its own sake and honesty for getting self interest, getting profit. The first is principled position, means being honest for the sake of honesty is the principled position. Second is a prudential one, like a practical one with a self motive. Kant argues that only the principled position is in line with the motive of duty and only motive that confirms moral worth on an action. So, if you are doing anything with a wrong motive, then it is unethical. What is supreme ethical standard? To answer this, Kant interconnects three big ideas. By now, we have understood morality and freedom. Reason, very, very important. You have to understand and you have to think how he is connecting the things. Almost, if you sum up all the things, all the things leads to one place itself. That is the supreme ethical standard. If you understand the interconnectivity between morality, acting freely, and acting with reason, then almost you have understood this. So Kant says what is supreme ethical standard by connecting these three big ideas: morality, freedom, and reason. For this, he uses contrast or dualisms. Like these are very, very deep concepts to make others understand. It comes up with some new terminology, a contrast. Say, for example, to make you what autonomy is, he comes with heteronomy because concept. So he comes with dualism. In then, for morality, we have studied like duty and inclination. Is there any doubt with respect to this thing? Morality is acting according to duty. Inclination, anything if you don't act according to duty, that is inclination, that is not moral. Freedom means acting autonomously. If you are acting to satisfy the things which are given by society, self interest, biology, anything like that, you are acting heteronomously, not autonomously. Reason. This is very, very important thing. Is this clear? Till now, are you like, are the concept clear for you? Let me know if you have any doubt with respect to the first two, because this your understanding of the third one depends on the first two. Okay. First contrast, morality. With respect to that, we have got two things. One is duty and another is inclination. Only the motive of duty can confirm moral worth of on an action. No, there's no doubt. I hope I have explained in detail. So only the motive of duty confirms moral worth, not inclination. Next, freedom. This need little elaboration. I will just make the things still clear. I am free when my will is determined autonomously, governed by a law I give myself. When I am acting according to a law which I give myself. What is freedom? Freedom means I make some law and I act according to that. Then I am free. And I am acting freedom with freedom. If I am acting to satisfy something which I have not given, the case of the pen I dropped and I showed you. This pen, when it falls down, it is not acting autonomously. It is obeying the law of the nature. When you give yourself a law and if you are acting accordingly, then you are acting autonomously. Then that is freedom. Kant observes that everything in nature, Kant observes that everything in nature works in accordance with laws, isn't it? Whether that may be physical law, natural law, anything like that. Everything works according to nature, such as laws of natural necessity, laws of physics, laws of cause and effect. There are many laws, like maybe natural law, physical law, societal law. So everything acts according to some law. If our actions are governed solely by the laws of physics, like the example of stone falling, or the example of like when we are thirsty, then we are then we would be no different than the stone, and we will be no different than the pen which falls. So if we are capable of freedom, so if we are capable of freedom, we must be capable of acting not according to law that is given or imposed on us, but according to a law which we give ourselves. Isn't it thought provoking? You give yourself a law, act according to that. Then you are acting autonomously, then you are acting with freedom. Otherwise, you are acting as a slave. Then you may ask me, like, where can I get that law? What is the basis for that law? Like I have been saying, act according to a law which you give yourself. What is the basis on which we have to base that law? What is that law? You may ask me, where could such a law come from? How to arrive at that law? You give yourself a law. What is the basis of that law? From where does this law come from? The answer for that is Kant's answer is reason. If you base yourself on reason, that is that will be the law you are giving to yourself. If you are acting on pure reason, that will be the law which you will be giving to yourself. Is it clear? So, freedom means acting autonomously. Acting autonomously means acting according to a law which you give to yourself. Acting according to a law which you give yourself is dependent on pure reason. Is it clear? Okay. Next, the law we give ourselves come from reason, as I have explained. Kant says that Kant says that Kant idea of reason, of practical reason, in, to be specific in reason, a practical reason, the kind involved in morality. What we are talking about, the practical reason which in the context of morality is not instrumental reason. This is clear. So we are talking about that reason which is an end in itself. It is not an instrument. Instrument, why we use an instrument? To get some work done. This computer, this pen, laptop, these are the instruments. Why we are using that? For some other end. So this pure reason is not instrumental reasoning. It is but pure practical reason which legislate a priori regardless of all the empirical ends. So empirical ends, the consequences are not the things which you have to take into consideration. Is this clear? So he's saying that with reason we can arrive, not by empirical conditions like our wants, preferences, utility, consequences. No, you have to base the law on reason. Is this clear? Next, the third is categorical imperative. Is there any doubt till the things what we have discussed? Because these are very interconnected things. So, with respect to reason, Kant has two things: categorical imperative, which is the subject matter of our ethics, and also hypothetical imperatives. You might have heard this many times. Like, what is the difference between categorical and hypothetical imperative? Categorical means absolute. Imperative means that which you have to do. There is no other thing. There is no escape for you. Categorical imperative is that an absolute law which you all have to follow in a given circumstance. Is this thing clear? Categorical imperative. Kant distinguishes two ways to reason, two ways that reason can command the will, two different kinds of imperative. One is categorical imperative and another is hypothetical imperative. One which is absolute and another which is not absolute, which is dependent. X leads to Y is a hypothetical thing. You're doing some things for other thing. Is this clear? Categorical imperative is an end in itself, not the hypothetical. In hypothetical thing, you are doing something for some other reason. Is this thing clear? Is there any doubt with respect to these things? Okay, we'll elaborate these things further in our next section. Don't forget to like, subscribe our channel. Take care. Happy learning with Unacademy. We'll reassemble in a very short while.